Hello, fellow Star Wars fans. My name is Starrapter, and welcome to the channel. This is my review for Star Wars Master of Evil, written by Adam Christopher. This is a book focused on Darth Vader, and it takes place right after the events of Revenge of the Sith. But if you want to get really granular and in weeds about it, it specifically takes place in between issues number 5 and 6 of Charles Soule's and Giuseppe Comicolo's wonderful Darth Vader 2017 run from Marvel. So there you go. This is basically taking place like right at that moment when Vader constructs his red lightsaber. And now we're dealing with this question that Vader and Anakin have had about what the promise of this power of the dark side was with Palpatine, the power to save Padme, and that doesn't work. But there's still this idea of, oh, the dark side has so many secrets, and Palpatine is kind of taking his time with telling Vader some of these secrets, and Vader's becoming impatient, and he's going on his own quest to discover the power of the dark side. But he is not alone, and that's where we get our main character in this, because as much of a Darth Vader book as we thought this could be, this is really looking through the lens at Vader with this wonderful character named Colonel Goth, who is the commander of the Emperor's Royal Guard. So the Emperor wants to keep an eye on Vader, so he sends Colonel Goth as well as a contingent of his Royal Guards to kind of babysit Vader, to be like, okay, make sure he's not doing anything too crazy and report back to me. And that's where the cool part of the story is getting the political hierarchy. You know, we have Colonel Goth who has to report back to the ISB by this agent, but then Vader's doing some stuff that could help his cause out, so maybe he doesn't want to spill all the beans to Emperor just yet. And that is kind of where the story goes, is it goes very heavy political in the beginning, and it gets really into that Mortisy, Clone Warsy kind of crazy Force stuff towards the end, and I will get into that. But getting into the positives here, Colonel Goth is one of the standouts of this book for me. What a wonderful character. This is what I think of as a good Imperial. Not every person in part of the Empire is a bad guy. Remember, this is the beginnings, the birth of the Empire at the story, right? We are just transitioning still from the Republic to the Empire. We still are using clone troopers, not even TK stormtroopers yet. So things are being built just like the ISB. There's hangars being built. There's a whole bunch of just stuff that is getting off the ground, because that's how new this new regime is. So we have Colonel Goth, who is a guy that he's loyal. He is one of the most loyal Star Wars Imperial characters I've seen. This guy is just an all-around good dude that wants nothing better than to serve his government and do the best that he can. And I really appreciate it. I really kind of see that there's a lot of us with that character. People are just trying to do a good job out there, whether or not they might be in the wrong line of work or working for the wrong person, right? What also really helps with this character is the natural stakes that are built into the story via this character. He has this syndrome that kind of puts an expiration date on his life. So this sense of urgency and stakes that give us a solid timeline of like, okay, he's got to do this thing or else something bad is going to happen. And that kind of keeps propelling it and kept me engaged with the story as I go through it. A great droid, and we know every Star Wars story needs a good droid anymore. We have a TC droid called TC-99 or Nines, and he is a protocol droid, but he is a sentient droid. So we had Goth that has unlocked his droid matrix or whatever it is, and now he has full sentience. Think of L337 from Solo a Star Wars Story, and that's kind of the vibe you're going to get from this character. A protocol droid, as I said. But like, what's really cool about him is he can sideload, they call it, matrices of other droids. So he can still retain his personality's independence, but he sideloads these other skill sets, if you will, on the fly that he carries around with him. He could be a slicer, he could be a pilot, he can even be a commando droid maybe. So there's like a lot of cool stuff technology-wise in this, and Adam Christopher does a great job implementing other things with hyperspace, even with these things called hyperspace anchors, a really cool thing I've never seen or experienced in Star Wars before. But also he shines a light on one of the older factions in the Star Wars galaxy in the Republic era, which was the Techno Union. And the Techno Union are like the biggest supplier of the droids, and there's a lot of stuff here connecting the Empire with the Techno Union, where they are as the Empire has been established and what might be transferred between them when things change, and really good stuff there. Adam Christopher, if you've read his other book, Shadows of the Sith, you know he gets very Force heavy with his content, and doesn't do anything less here, right? This really cool stuff with this temple, and there's this vergence of the Force, and we've heard about that term, like the idea that Sith temples are built on top of these locuses of power, like the vergence of the Force. Like, for instance, in the Darth Vader comics that were referenced earlier, I talked about Vader finds a locus of the Force on Mustafar, and later he builds Vader's castle on there. He's able to siphon and use that power of the Force to his best ability. So we get to really dive deep, quite literally, into a vergence of the Force, and I really appreciated that. But I really also loved how this picks up on the plot lines of Revenge of the Sith, and the idea that, you know, Darth Plagueis the Wise was able to conquer death and all this sort of thing. And that's what Anakin got interested in the dark side in the first place. And that plot line felt like it was kind of left on the cutting room floor after Vader was, at least in canon, right? So it's the first time in canon we're really diving into like, oh, there's some unfinished business here, right? Like, Vader is still a person that has these drives, has this quest to find out where this power is. Where does it come from? So I really like that, as well as we're so early in the Empire. What is Vader in the Empire? Is he a high-ranking officer like a Grand Moff? Is he more of just like an operative? So I like the idea of, again, we're seeing this mainly from a different character's perspective, and looking from the outside in and be like, who is this tall, black-clad figure walking around the Star Destroyers? What is he doing? Is he outranking me? What's going on here? So I really like to see, like, and that terror and that fear of how people see him with his lightsaber, how they see him using the Force. Like, oh my gosh, who is this? Like, I love that mystery about it. I thought that was really good, and the pacing is fantastic in this book. I just kept reading and reading and reading. That's a good sign. Obviously, very engaged with the quick pace that what this was. Negative wise, I will say, for me personally, it started to get a little stale about halfway through as far as the location. I thought we might be able to be a little bit more fluid, and I feel like we are in a certain location a little bit too long, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? And then it gets really esoteric and really kind of strange, and, you know, like, that's fine and all, but I feel like maybe it's a problem with my expectations. And I think that's what I will say for all of you out there that are watching this. Maybe you were really hoping for a fantastic, like, Vader novel where he's going through and he's slaying Jedi and everything that escaped Order 66. This is not that book. There's a lot of quiet moments in this book. As I said, the pacing is good, but the mystery, there's a very much a strong sense of mystery here. And that might not be in everybody's bag. I'll just be upfront with that one. I feel like the story doesn't really move Darth Vader's journey as far as I would like. We get to the end of the book, and I thought it was a fine kind of like a gentle kind of ending. I was expecting something a little bit more concrete, something a little bit more evocative of, okay, that was Vader before, this is Vader now, sort of thing. But again, as I mentioned off the top of the video, this is taking place between two specific issues of a comic book. So I understand that Adam Christopher can't really push this character too much because Charles Soule has already kind of done that already, right? So you can't be, you know, retroactively stepping on this other writer's toes and sort of thing like that. But with that being said, I still really like this book. I still really enjoyed this book. I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. What do you guys think of this review? Do you plan on picking it up on audiobook or in hardcover? Let me know in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars, you're already in the right place. I recently uploaded my review of a Star Wars manga, Path of the Lightsaber, which I thought was really freaking good. So go ahead and check that out. And for more on Star Wars, you're already in the right place. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.